Hey, we're going to be learning about 3 really important verb endings that are used in questions. The first one we're going to learn is na or nayo. This form and the other 2 we're going to be learning today are only used in questions. You just take an action verb stem and you attach na if you're speaking casually or nayo if you're speaking politely. There is one exception. If the verb stem ends with this letter, lir, you remove it first. 살다 is normally to live, so we have to remove it, and then we attach na. 사나요? So that's the only exception, is just this letter. So it's used to make questions. For example, 하다, 하나요? The key nuance of this form is that it sounds soft. It's not just asking a question. It sounds like you're extra curious to know. For example, if you want to ask someone, do you live in Korea? 한국에 살아요? But if you wanted to say something like, by chance, do you live in Korea? It's the exact same question, but a little bit softer. And that's what this form provides. So simply adding this in a question can make that question sound more polite. I said the nuance is soft, but that can translate to a little bit extra polite. So let's take a look at a few examples. 지금, now, 가도 되나요? Can I go now? 가다, to go. 가도 되다, to be okay to go. Is it okay if I go? So this changes 지금 가도 돼요? Can I go now? Into 지금 가도 되나요? Would it be okay if I left now? It just sounds softer and more polite. 무슨 일로 오셨나요? 무슨 is the adjective version of what? 일. For what purpose? 오시다 is the honorific version of 오다, to come here. So we conjugate this into the past tense. Normally you'd get 오셨어요. But if we're going to use the 나요 ending, all we need is the verb stem. 오셨, and then you just attach 나요. So 무슨 일로 오셨나요? So for what purpose are you here? What are you here for? 김치를 좋아하나요? So it's not just 좋아해요, do you like kimchi? But it's like, do you by chance like kimchi, maybe? Or if you wanted to be honorific, 좋아하시나요 would also be fine. 김치를 좋아하시나요? But remember, this is only with action verbs. 피곤하다 is to be tired. It's not an action verb. It's a descriptive verb. So 피곤하나요? No, technically, it would sound wrong. You have to use a different form. And that form is 가 or 가요. Now, this doesn't look like it, but it's actually the same thing as 나 or 나요. 가요, though, is the form that's used when you're working with descriptive verbs. So you take a verb stem, and then you attach 은 if that verb stem ends with a consonant, or you just attach a nian if it ends with a vowel, followed by 가 or 가요 if you're speaking politely. And there are some more exceptions. If the verb stem ends with that letter again, the L letter, you still have to remove it, just like before. If you have the verb 멀다, to be far, so you get the verb stem, you remove that letter, it ends with a vowel, so you attach this, nian, and then you attach 가요, and you're done. 뭔가요? 피곤하다 becomes 피곤한가요. 피곤한가요. Also, if it ends with this letter, you're going to probably remove it as well. So you remove it and you replace it with 우. Now, this is the exact same thing you'll do when you're conjugating that verb anyway. So for example, if you have the verb 춥다, this one is normally conjugated as 추워요. So you already know this is one of the verbs that's an exception. So for this one, 추, you remove the piep, you add 우, and then you follow the rest of it as normal. 추운가 or 추운가요. If it ends with this letter, 히읗, which is the H letter, you also will remove it. Not for every verb, but for many verbs. 그렇다. This one means to be so. Like that's what it is. It's like that. You have to remove it, and then you're going to do this like normal. So 그런가요. And the verbs 있다 and 없다, while they are technically used as descriptive verbs because you're saying something exists or something doesn't, these ones actually conjugate as if they are action verbs. So these ones will actually become inna with na and not ka. These ones use na or 나요. 지금, right now, what 하고 있나요? So what are you doing right now? Again, 있나요, not 있은가요. What are you doing now by chance? Everything we've been talking about for ka or kayo has been in the regular present tense. The past tense, however, is much simpler. It looks like this. If you want to use a past tense verb stem, even if it's a descriptive verb, it'll only use 나요 again. So you can have a simple sentence like this. 이건 meaning 이것은, so like this thing. 이건 어떤가요? How is it? With an extra bit of softness, with that nuance that you're being extra curious. 이건 어떤가요? So how is this? 이건 어떤가요? Again, it's present tense. So you do use 가요. 어디가, so this 어디 is where. 어디가 아프다, to hurt. In this case, it's not 아프다. We're actually using 아프시다, which is the honorific version to be extra polite. But you could think of this as 아픈가요? Same literal meaning. 어디가 아프신가요? So where does it hurt? If you use it in future tense, you're going to use it with this form. 것이다, which normally like 하다 would become 할 거야, right? Or 할 거예요. So 할 거, well, how do you conjugate 이다? It's 가요, right? This becomes 할 건가요. You're not actually using future tense with this form. You're using present tense with this form, 이다. The future tense, though, comes from the part before. 할 것. This part makes it the future tense. 짜다 is to be salty. 좀 짠가? 좀 a little bit? A bit? Is it a bit salty? 좀 짠가? 저건, which is just short for 저것은, that thing over there. 저건. 포도 is a grape. 이다, to be. 저건 포도예요? Is that a grape? 저건 포도인가요? Would that be a grape by chance? There's one more thing you should know about this form. If the verb stem ends with a consonant, and you're not taking a TOPIK test or a Korean language test, if you're having a regular conversation with someone, you can just use 나 or 나요 instead of 가 and 가요. So the descriptive verb 크다 means to be big. We still need to take the verb stem, which is 크. It ends in a vowel. So there we go. 큰가요? 집이 큰가요? Is the house big? Okay, you still have to use 가 or 가요, especially since we're in the present tense. But the verb to be small is 작다. So we get the verb stem. Normally it ends with a consonant. So we attach 작은가요? 집이 좀 작은가요? Is the house a bit small? But this also sounds perfect. You can also just use 나요 at the end. Both are fine. It doesn't sound better if you do, but it's acceptable. 춥다, to be cold. We can't just say 추운가요. That doesn't make any sense. It sounds weird. So we got to remove this, and then we add an 우, and then we add the nian, and then 가요, right? 추운가요? But we also could just do this. 춥나요? 추운가요? Perfect. 춥나요? Perfect. 괜찮다. 괜찮은가요? But since the verb stem ends with a consonant, you can also just do this. 괜찮나요? 괜찮은가요? 괜찮나요? Both are okay. But there's one more form you also should know how to use. This is the grammar that says ni. You take a verb stem and you attach ni. If the verb stem ends with this letter, just like before, you have to remove it. But that's it. It's the same thing for both action verbs and descriptive verbs, and it's the same thing in present tense and past tense. Because you see that it ends in ni, there's no 요 here. This form is only used in casual speech. This one is casual, but only to people who are the same age as you or younger. Even if you're speaking casually with your friend and they're older than you, you wouldn't use this one to them. Just like the na ending, this ni ending also has a soft feeling. That same soft feeling that na had. Sounds like you're a little bit more curious. You're like, by chance? But because it's casual, it also has a friendly, lighthearted feeling. And it sounds like the person who's using it is talking down to someone. It sounds kind of like a parent talking down to their kid. Now, it doesn't have to only be used by parents. That's the reason why you cannot use this with your older friends, because it has the nuance of talking down. Like, I'm older than you sort of feeling. Because of that, if you use it to your friends, it kind of can sound like sarcastic. It's like, why are you talking to me like my parent? That sort of feeling. You know, a boss talking down to their employee, or a teacher talking down to a student. That sort of feeling. 더 먹을 거니? 더 meaning more, 먹다, to eat. So this is 먹을 것이다, right? The future tense. 더 먹을 거예요? Basically, 거 plus 이다 plus 니. 거예요, 거이니, but this shortens to 거니. Just like 것이야 becomes 거야. The same thing happens here. 거니. So this would be future tense. 더 먹을 거니? Are you going to eat some more? 맛있니? Does it taste good? 맛있니? Is it good? Do you like it? It kind of has that nuance, like you're, talking down to them a bit. But again, with your friends, it sounds sarcastic, so it's okay. It's not necessarily rude unless you're using it in a way that would be like condescending. 지금, right now, 그게, which is short for 그것이, same thing. 지금 그게 중요하다, to be important. Right now, is that important? 지금 그게 중요하니? Is that important right now? 창문 is window. 창문 닫았니? 닫다 is to close. So 닫았어요? Did you close the window? 닫았니? Did you close the window? 창문 닫았니? Did you close the window? And that is the lesson. Thank you for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.